welcome to my channel. In my last video, I talked about my top 5 teams going into this upcoming NHL season. So I thought I'd flip the script by talking about my bottom feeders who are going to be at the bottom of the standings, who are going to be in that race to get Gavin McKenna, and are going to be sellers and all that kind of fun stuff. And I'm going to be talking about 4 teams instead of the 5 that I talked about in the last video, because I see these 4 as clear bottom feeders of the league. So without further ado, let's get into my first or 2. I'm going to group these 2 together because I do believe that they are kind of in the same spot, which is the Chicago Blackhawks and the San Jose Sharks. I think that Chicago's a little bit on the worser side, but I do believe that they are kind of the same in their situations, where they're both very committed to the rebuild. They have both had first overall selections in the last 3 years, and they have both been top 5 selectors in the last few years. And reason for this is that they're in the rebuild, and they have young teams. They have prospect pools that have been graded top 3 in the leagues or in the league, and they have young talent, but that talent hasn't quite been refined or polished. It is still very raw. I see Chicago in a little bit more of a worser spot, as I mentioned, because I believe that they're a little bit more shaky in their rebuild. I don't think that they have done a really good job up to this point in helping out Connor Bedard. I think he's a little bit stranded out there because he was first overall selection, and he is a great player. He just needs some good teammates to help finish some of the passes that he sets up and who can keep up with him. And that will take some time. But I think Connor Bedard is been a little bit shaky in that sense. While with San Jose, Macklin Celebrini looks like he's having the time of his life with Will Smith and Tyler Toffoli, as we saw last season. And I think that both these teams, they're not in the winning mindset yet. They're still very much trying to rebuild themselves. And so I see these 2 as like bottom of the league, and they also kind of are shaky in the vet department. Chicago's a little bit more shaky than San Jose, because San Jose, I would say, has the better veterans. And so that's why I have Chicago and San Jose in the bottom of the league. Now for my 3rd team, I have the Boston Bruins. And this was kind of inevitable that they would take a fall. They have been riding high on some great talent over the past 20 plus years, with Chara, with Krejci, with Bergeron, with Marchand, and probably a few others that I can't remember right now. But they have been a team that's been consistently good, and I think that all of that is catching up to them now. They signed some horrible contracts, in my opinion, last off season, with Elias Lindholm, who signed a 7-year contract at 7.75 AAV, and he has not played like it. His points kind of abysmal, And because he was in the Vancouver Canucks. He was a Vancouver Canuck for like a few months. They got him at the trade deadline, not last season, but the season before when they went into the playoffs. And it became clear that he wasn't the scorer that he was when he was with Calgary. And so the Canucks kind of wanted to get rid of him because they realized he's kind of a lost cause. And Boston was like, well, we want to stay good. So they signed him, and that contract is looking kind of atrocious right now. And I think that Boston is trying to put Band-Aids on like a bullet wound right now. And because like they've lost all the talent that they did have, and they only have Pastrnak and McAvoy. And so I don't really see them being that good. Also, they signed Nikita Zadorov, another former Canuck, to a 6-year, $5 million AAV. Not this past offseason, but the season before then when they signed Elias Lindholm. And it's not looking great. Those contracts aren't looking great by any means. And so, fortunately, I don't really see them doing much this upcoming season. And I think all of their winning that they did in the 2000s and 2010s and early 2020s is finally catching up to them. And so, and not off season, but this past season, with them trading their captain in Brad Marchand, in my opinion, is a sign of what's to come. And so, yeah, unfortunately, I don't really have Boston doing anything, and they should be looking at mock drafts and looking to see if Gavin McKenna is someone that they want to add. Spoiler, they really should add him. So, yeah. My last team that I am going to be talking about is the Pittsburgh Penguins. Kind of the same thing as Boston, but minus them signing horrible contracts. They have an aging core that, yes, they're still very talented. Malkin, Letang, and Crosby, they're Hall of Famers in my eyes, and I think in a lot of people's eyes. However, outside of those three, and maybe Erik Karlsson, they don't have talent. And in their prospect pool, I can only think of like one person, I think, and that's Rucker McGroarty. There's another Penguin prospect out there that I don't know about. I am sorry. But I don't, like, their bottom nine, in my opinion, is non-existent. Their goaltending is shaky, or not shaky, it's bad. Because Tristan Jarry, he is like, he could be Vezina caliber one game and then look like he should be in the ECHL another game. And yes, they did make the trade for Artur Shelovs. I'm sad about that. But I don't think Artur Shelovs is going to save this team. And same thing as the Boston Bruins. They had been consistently good through the, I would say, tail end of the 2010 or 2000s, and then great throughout the 2010s. They had 3 Stanley Cups over the course of those 2 decades. And so now and they haven't made the playoffs in the last 2 seasons. And the rumors of Sidney Crosby being traded have been at an all-time high. And so I unfortunately can't see this team doing anything this upcoming season, and it's quite a shame because I think Crosby wants to spend his last few years as a Pittsburgh Penguin. I mean, he probably has a no-move clause, so he probably could do that, but if he really wants to, I don't think anyone would blame him for wanting a trade to win one more cup before he retires. But considering him, he'll probably sink with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And they don't have anyone to replace him right now. So Gavin McKenna may be a perfect solution to replacing Sidney Crosby. And so, yeah, that is my 4 bottom feeders. Let me know, do you agree with me in these being the bottom feeders of the league, or is there a team that I forgot about? Some honorable mentions, I would say Nashville and the Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo, I made a whole video on how I would fix the Buffalo Sabres, but while I was making that video, I'm like, yeah, they may just need to, do something to get the bad, juju and stuff like that off this team. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to let YouTube know that this was a good video and that you like my stuff. And so, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.